Man, it's a tough world over there when you get your feet wet, it's tough. I wasn't getting any calls. I'm like, damn, this really might be it. Then I got that call on November 4th. I'll never forget it. And then we had a game November 5th. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get there November 4th at night. There's no way they're gonna make me play this game on November 5th. I get off the flight. They're like, you got
You
shoes?
starting?
I'm like, of course. He's like, okay, we're on our way to the gym. We have a game in an hour. Oh my God.
Wow.
13-hour flight. We got a game in an hour. Just getting off the plane. My first ever overseas experience. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, there's no way I'm going to play so many minutes. No way I'm going to play, 30, 35. I get subbed one time. I played 38 minutes, first game, straight off the plane. One of the best teams in Kosovo. We played KB Paya. They
Nice.
had the best Kosovan player of all time, Darden Berisha. It was a crazy experience that first game.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, near or far. Welcome back to another episode of the Coach G podcast. And today's guest is a player whose journey shows what perseverance and development can really lead to. Ty Nichols went from playing Div 3 basketball at Keene State College when he became the program's all-time leading scorer, averaging 27 points per game in his senior season, to building a professional career across Europe. From starting his journey in Kosovo to earning MVP honors in the Czech League and competing in multiple top European leagues, Ty's past is a powerful example of resilience, growth, and staying committed to the process. In today's conversation, we're going to dive deep into his story, the lessons he's learned along the way, and what inspired him, and how aspiring athletes can take from his journey both on and off the court. Without further ado, listeners, give a warm welcome to Ty Nichols. Appreciate you, man.
No, I appreciate you for having me, my guy.
Absolutely. And just before we even get started, Ty, talk to me like where you're at now. How is your physical and how is your mental?
I mean, as you know, Europe's a long season,
Yeah.
10-month season. So physically, your body's going to wear down just over time. But, the coaching staff, the management, they've been doing a great job with trying to keep our bodies up to date and ready for each and every game. But I would say my mental is more impaired than my physical. Obviously, just
Mm.
being away from home, being away from friends, family, missing holidays, it's all going to take a toll on you. But like one of the words you mentioned earlier, perseverance. You just gotta persevere through all of that and realize, what you're doing is something that a lot of people wish they were doing. So you just gotta kind of keep that in the back of your mind and just continue to push through every day. Every day is a new fight, and then like I said, you just gotta push through, man.
Right. Exactly. And kind of just staying with regards to just us learning more about you and kind of your introduction into the sport. What part of your childhood, Ty, do we need to understand to truly understand the player you are today?
I would say there's two different parts. One, very, very young, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, which is the year my father passed away, which took a huge toll on our family. My mom, she took the responsibility of growing up, in a single household, and she had to raise 9 kids, you know what I mean? So that alone says enough about her character.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as I grew up and my mental became a little bit more and I was able to understand a little bit more about life. I realized what she did was amazing.
Mm.
And, I kind of took that from her mindset and how she just wanted to do everything she could to see her kids successful. So I would say early on when I lost my father, and then around the age of 13, 14, like I said, when I got a better understanding about what life was all about and just seeing how she was able to do what she did. And, I just wanted to take that from her and, just put it to something successful. And I put it towards sports. And basketball worked out for me.
Right. And just even on that with your family, I understand you grew up in a big family with 7 siblings, I believe. So what was that environment like and how did it shape your competitiveness and character?
I mean, the environment was crazy. It was hectic. Obviously
Yeah.
you got, eight, 9 people running around the house, all worried about different things in life, all taking their own path in life. But at the end of the day, it was amazing. Like I said,
Yeah.
you have a big family, you're around your family all the time. There's always somebody there that you can talk to, whether you're going through something good or bad. And I grew up with a lot of brothers. I only have 2 sisters. So even though my father passed away at a young age and I didn't really get to take any fatherly figure things from him, my brothers kind of did a good job with that as I was growing up, trying to be that father figure for me. And
Mm.
I give a huge shout out to them because they kind of molded me into the man that I am today. Whereas my mom, she just, like I said, she gave me that perseverance, that relentless attitude just to continue to strive to do something better in life. whether life throws adversity at you, whether it throws good things at you, you just got to kind of take everything and stay in the same flow of life. So, I mean, she's amazing. My family's amazing. It was great growing up with all those siblings, and fortunately for me and for us that we're all still here today.
Right. I mean, first off, shout to the family, shout to the moms, the brothers, the sisters, because I could just tell they are a big reason why you are the person you are today and just how far you are in your career as well. So shout out to them, man, for real. And
Yeah, thank you.
I'm curious, Ty, was basketball always your main sport growing up, or did you explore other sports first?
Nah, for sure. So I started off playing football when I was about like 8 or 9 years old. All
Okay.
my friends played football. My best friends played football. So honestly didn't know anybody who played basketball. So I just stuck with football
Ah,
for like throughout my whole childhood. I was just strictly football, football, football. I got to high school, and in ninth grade, I played football and started to play basketball, but I kind of still took football more serious, just because I played it my whole life. And then I had transferred schools in high school. One of my best friends kind of stopped playing football around the eighth grade, and he started playing basketball. But this was my best friend. Like, I would talk to him about anything. We'd be at each other's houses
nice.
every day. So he went to a different high school than me, and I wanted to transfer to the high school he was at. And then the high school he was at was more basketball dominant. So as soon as I don't even know why I transferred because I love football so much, but
Yeah.
I did it just because it was my best friend, and I never thought that I would take sports to where I took it today. So I just transferred. He said, you should try out basketball. So I tried it in 10th grade. I was about 15, 16 years old, and I didn't like it at first just because I couldn't grasp the fundamentals of the game. I was
Yeah.
fast because I played football, I was physical, but I would foul out every game just because I thought it was the same as football. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So I mean, I just couldn't grasp the fundamentals of the game. But as I continued to play it, and I was obviously with my best friend every day, that's kind of the reason why I stuck with it. I just got better and better each day. He would have individual training sessions, and I was like, bro, I might as well just come with you. I didn't want to do the training session; I just wanted to be with him. But
Right, right,
I just kind of did it, and those kind of helped me a lot. And from there, it was just an uphill battle.
right. And
Yeah.
when you made that transition from football to basketball, and like after a certain amount of time, because I feel like no matter what sport you play, there's that moment when it becomes second nature with how you're thinking the game, how you're playing the game. You're kind of able to see where the help is coming from. You're able to see that love pass or that pick and roll pass. So for yourself, Ty, when was that moment when you realized that you was nice at basketball?
Honestly, bro, this might shock you, but I didn't realize this moment until like my junior year of college. Like it
Wow.
took me
Okay.
that long to realize, well, I can take this game to the next level. Because in high school, we were pretty successful. We won two state championships. We made it to three, lost in the third one, and then we beat a lot of ranked teams. We played a lot of NBA players. But we were always built off team accomplishments, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
Nobody on our team averaged more than 15, 16 points a game. Everybody were like 9, 10, 11. We were built off of defense. We would press full court 40 minutes, create a lot of steals. We broke the steal record in Massachusetts as a team. So I mean, it just kind of shows you what type of team we had. It wasn't just one guy. It was five, six, seven of us that could beat you on any given night. So I
Hmm.
didn't kind of like there was no individual like with us. So I'm saying that to say like I didn't know I was going to be this good, until I had to
Okay.
get to college and I kind of had to, we lost a lot of seniors my sophomore year. So I kind of knew I had to step my game up, and college is a different level. It's a longer game.
Yeah.
The scouts a lot more detailed. So people know your tendencies and your strengths. I just kind of had to like become a not a leader, but more so I had to step up scoring wise and doing a lot of
Mm.
things that a leader would do. I wasn't really the most talkative leader, but like I said, I had to step up scoring wise, and then I just found that it was just easy for me to score the ball. And then
Right.
it kind of clicked, and then going into my junior year, where I realized I had scored 1,000 points. This didn't even click with me. I scored 1,000 points in 2 years, and I didn't even know. I didn't
Golly.
even know until the first game of my junior year. I'm like, hold on, I might be able to take basketball somewhere. So that's kind of when I figured
Yeah.
out I was that switch flipped for me.
Right. So, I mean, you spoke about football being one of your main passions. So, like, during that time, if you haven't mentioned it already, like, what made basketball ultimately win your heart?
Man, that's a great question. Win my heart. It still hasn't won my heart to this day. I still
Okay.
believe I'm a better football player than I am a basketball player. But I would say it kind of like I gave up on football sophomore, junior year of high school. Because even when I transferred, I still tried to get on the football team, but my mom, fortunately, she wouldn't let me just due to injuries and whatnot.
Right.
Football is still my number one sport. I still love it to this day. I watch more NFL than I watch NBA. But after sophomore, junior year of high school, I would say basketball kind of became my number one favorite sport to play.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, understood.
yeah.
Understood. And you even mentioned just the upbringing and some of the challenging times that you went through. And I mean, even for myself, the beauty about basketball for me and for many players is it's really saved my life in terms of when things are going really, really tough for me. I'm able just to kind of lose myself in the game of basketball, or even friends who I call my brothers who I met through basketball. I'm able to lean on them. So during challenging moments like that, Ty, like what role did basketball play for you mentally or emotionally?
Was huge. It was like a safe haven. Like you said, anything I was going through on that day, the minute I got on the court, it like all went away. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So basketball, it's been huge for me. And obviously I come from a tough environment, a tough neighborhood, a tough city. So, it kind of was able to keep me out the streets. Anything that if I was bored, I just go to the gym, play basketball. Suddenly I'm not bored no more.
right,
Um, but I mean, it's just like it's like a safe place where you can go just for like, if someone's feeling down or, you're not having the best day, you go on the court, all of that goes away. You're just focused on playing basketball. So, I mean, whoever invented the game, truly, because there's a lot of speculation on who invented the game.
yeah,
Whoever invented it, I thank him.
right. Absolutely. And looking back now, just before we kind of speak about your college and pro career, looking back now, Ty, as a pro athlete, are there lessons from that period of your life during the ups and downs that still guide you to how you approach challenges today?
One of the main lessons from my early life, I would say, like I mentioned earlier, losing my dad, but obviously just having the father figures of my brothers, they instilled toughness in me from a young age. So I was able to always take care of myself. And living in America, when you go to college, you kind of have to be by yourself. You got to cook, you got to clean, you got to do everything on your own. So
Right.
just growing up in a big environment with a lot of brothers who were able to instill things into you, I think that was the biggest thing I took away.
Right. And when we speak about the college level, I mean, you even mentioned earlier, and I'm really starting to learn this now, the jump from high school to college, even like AAU to college, you go from being the number one guy in high school or on your AAU team to there's 20 number one options on this roster. So you got to fit in somehow, some way, and you competing at the Div 3 level at Keene State College. What led you to that program?
So like I said, in high school, I wasn't, and from my area, not a lot of kids earn scholarships to go play basketball. It's more so a lot of academic scholarships in my area. But Keene was one of, I want to say, two or three schools that honestly had interest in me. Cause like I said,
Okay.
I never thought I would take the sport to the next level. And growing up where I grew up, a lot of kids don't even go to college to begin with. So I kind of thought after high school, I was just going to get a job, join the workforce, and try to stay around the sport. But I'd be playing in like men's leagues and stuff like that. But Keene State was one of the three colleges that wanted me at their school. They were going through a coaching change, and one of my teammates the prior year for me graduating, the year he graduated, he had committed to Keene State. So I just kind of talked to him like how was the program, blah blah blah. He's like, it was amazing, but we're losing our coach. And no disrespect to Coach Colbert, who was the coach before I got to Keene. He wasn't my type of style of coach. He was more slow paced, half court offense. Me, I'm very energetic. I want to get up and down. I kind of want to play free. So when I heard that he was retiring or stepping down from his job, I kind of looked at it as, okay, one of my old teammates is over there. He said it's all right. And I know him. If it was amazing, he would have said amazing, but he said all right. I'm like, but once I heard the coach is stepping down, I said, okay, he's over there. Let's meet with the new coach. Let's enroll into the school, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I didn't have much other schools. The other schools that wanted me were kind of like 30, 40 minutes away from my house. So I
Okay.
kind of wanted to get out of that area. Keene was two and a half, 3 hours away from my house. So I just wanted to get away. And that was one of the main reasons why I went there. They were far further away from my home. And then
Okay.
when I met with the new coach, he was young. He had just graduated college like 8, 9 years ago. So he kind of knew the nuances of the game
Nice.
and how the game was changing.
Yeah.
And he just seemed like a great guy. From that day that we all had the individual meetings with him, it kind of just clicked with me like, okay, this is my guy. He really cares about us on and off the court. Until this day, he's my favorite coach that I've ever had in my life.
Wow, shout out to that coach for real,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Love that.
Ryan Kane. Ryan Kane.
Shout out to Coach Ryan Kane, man, for real. And it's interesting because I feel like, I mean, it's changing now, but sometimes I do feel like some players overlook Div 3 basketball and it's still high levels. So, but saying that, you became an all-time leading scorer there. So, what did that environment allow you to develop in your game?
Right. I mean, when I first went there, I wasn't a scorer, like I mentioned before. I was more so of a pass first point guard, get a steal, get a layup, that type of score. But we lost a lot of seniors after that year, and I just kind of had to step up. So instead of going home for those 2, 3 months in the summer after classes ended, I stayed in Keene, and I just kind of worked on my game. I was able to get in the shooting gun every year. So my freshman year, I probably hit like 8, 9 threes. But my sophomore year, after I was able to stay on the gun all summer and whatnot, I hit about 6 threes in one game. I had
Man,
7 threes in one game, so it made a huge difference to my career. And from there, I just decided that I wanted to score the ball. I was
right.
tired of passing. I just wanted to score the ball. So I just kind of took that and ran with it. My coach, he gave me the most confidence in the world to continue to do that. And my
Nice.
teammates, they trusted in me. We were able to have success with that.
How important is it? Because you just said something there that is so key that I think a lot of coaches can learn from, and even for players to understand the role of a coach. Like, because can be some coaches who they don't think about the players, they think about the system they have and how a player can fit if they got to squeeze them into that system versus a coach. Like for me, my mentor's always told me, Coach, you have to adapt to the players in front of you. You could have the best elevator door catch and shoot inbound play, but if you if you don't have shooters on the team, that's not being very smart. So you really have to adapt to the players you have in front of you. So you saying that now, why was that so important for you to have a coach who kind of understood you and was able to connect with you and see that you like to play the game quick and just give you that freedom and creativity and trust and belief, would you say?
Right. I mean, basketball is a game that's going to change every 10 years. You know what I mean? When I was growing up through high school and college, you had the Kobe's, the Russell Westbrooks of the world who like to operate in the mid range, get efficient shots. And now you can see the game is primarily built around the three ball.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's gonna change every year. And him being a young coach when I first went there, he kind of seen how the game was shifting from half court offenses to more let's get as many shots as we can at the rim and let's run. Let's not let the defense set up. I think it's huge because we had a team where okay, we had a lot of guys left, but when we also had like 5 or 6 guys returning from a successful program the year before. We had went to the Sweet 16, so he could have came in and he could have kept the same system that they had and he could have did his thing. He could have brought his own system. But when the individual meetings happened, he was like, "What do you do the best? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So I can model my new system after you."
Mm,
And from that point on, I'm like, "Oh wow, he's not just gonna come in here with his own ideas and try to implement them, even though he doesn't have those type of players." You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
mean, it's huge for a coach to want to adapt to their players because at the end of the day, they're the ones out there making the plays on the court and playing the game. So I mean, as far as if you have, like you said, you have a great system, you can have the best floppy action, you can have the best
yeah,
down screen action. But if you ain't got nobody to shoot those threes, what does that matter? You know
right,
what I mean? So I think the coach has to be able to adapt to his players just simply because they're the ones out there on the court playing the game.
right. And in your senior year, you averaged 27 points a game. And at what point did you start thinking, I might be able to play this game professionally?
Oh, man. I want to say, because we played 25 games this season, I want to say after the 20th game, I was like, okay, I don't think I want to stop playing basketball because honestly, it's a lot in college. It's a lot of basketball, and I was
Yeah,
just kind of getting fed up with it at one point. Even though I was good, I was like, I don't know if I could do this for 10 more years. That's a long time. But I would say after my 20th game, I'm like, damn, this is actually fun. I'm breaking records. I'm meeting great people. So it's like, why not just try to keep it going? And fortunately for me, I was able to find an agent directly after college, and he helped me
nice.
get started on my pro journey.
Nice. And speaking on that, I'm always fascinated to know because for people growing up in not just in London, UK, and Europe, we're aware of or we're more familiar with basketball overseas because we have like the Olympics, we have Euro League, so we're quite familiar with like the Basketball Champions League, the league structure, the name, and we have a couple players who have played over there as well. Whereas I'm always fascinated because you have the US where like the NBA is not even arguably the highest level, and then everything kind of trickled down after that. After college, you started your pro career in Kosovo. So, what was that first overseas experience like?
Man, it's a tough world over there when you get your feet wet. It's tough. I had signed, so the seasons usually typically start, end of August, early September. Like I said, like I went D3, so I had to kind of wait a little bit. The season had started. I wasn't getting any calls. I'm like, damn, this really might be it. Then I got that call on November 4th. I'll never forget it. Um, and then we had a game November 5th. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get there November 4th at night. There's no way they're gonna make me play this game on November 5th. Mind you, it's like a 13-hour flight. I'm like, there's just no way. I get off the flight. They're like, you got
You
shoes?
starting?
I'm like, of course. He's like, okay, we're on our way to the gym. We have a game in an hour. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
13-hour flight. We got a game in an hour. I'm just getting off the plane. My first ever overseas experience. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. There's no way I'm gonna play so many minutes, like 40-minute game. There's no way I'm gonna play, 30, 35. I get sub one time. I played 38 minutes, first game,
Damn.
straight off the plane. One of the best teams in Kosovo. We played KB Paya. They
Nice.
had the best Kosovan player of all time, Dardan Berisha.
Yeah.
Um, Man, it was a crazy experience that first game. But like I said, it's a business at the end of the day. They needed to win games. They needed to bring players. So I kind of understood it, but at the same time, I would never do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first experience overseas.
And what are some things young players don't realize about playing overseas until they actually experience it?
I mean, if you're gonna look on social media and stuff, you're gonna see that it's a great life. You're playing basketball in a foreign country, getting paid for it. You're living. You don't have to wake up every day for a job, but it's tough. It's the grind. I mean, to me, I always say when people ask me about it, basketball is the easy part. It's really the mental that you got to take
Mm,
care of. The mental part is going to be the hardest thing you got to take care of because, like I said, you're going to be missing holidays, you're going to be missing
yes.
birthdays, weddings, baby showers, like everything that you can experience back home, you're going to be missing it, just to play basketball. But at the end of the day, it is a blessing. Because like I said, you're doing things that people want to do. You're playing your favorite game, your favorite sport for a living. So at the end of the day, it is a blessing. But like I said, I always tell people, man, the mental part is going to be the hardest part, the hardest challenge that you're going to face, just because you're missing so much and you wish you could be there for that person. Your mom or your dad or your parents might be going through something that you're not able to be there for.
Yeah.
So I mean, as long as you take care of your mental, the basketball will take care of itself for sure.
Right, and you just mentioned something there where it's like that's the kind of unseen grind that a lot of players on social media don't always see. Like, yeah, they see the you making that game winning three or that dunk or that steal that sealed the game, but they don't see, like you said, the baby showers, the weddings, the important key events that you have to kind of sacrifice, And during that first season time, how did that first season shape your professionalism and mindset as a player?
It was huge. It was huge. You're able to see like the more business side of the game once you get over the waters. We were playing a lot of games, but then we were losing a lot of games as well. And I realized like, damn, he was just here. He got fired. He was just here. He got fired. He got sent home. Like they have no problem sending you home. And that kind of clicked with me. I'm like, he just had 30 points but got sent home.
Mm,
But he had bad character. So then I
let that
realized,
sink in.
so bad character. Okay, so character might be able to take you further than stats, which is very huge as you go through the European stages. So that's one of the things that I've kind of took from my first year on to now is just having great character, being the best in the locker room. Always hyping my teammates up, never putting my head down, never blaming my mistakes on someone else or blaming their mistakes on themselves. It's just as long as you have that good character, you'll be able to stick around in Europe. Because like I said, we had a dude on my team in Kosovo. His name was Malcolm Canada and he was putting up 30 triple doubles, going crazy, but had bad character. They sent them home. I'm like, that didn't make any sense. We're losing games and we're sending our best player home. But then it came down to his character and they didn't like that. So, as long as you got good character, that's one of the things, like I said, I took from my first year overseas.
That's a gem, man. You could be scoring 30 points, but if your character isn't
Yeah.
right, then yeah, and I feel like you had a breakthrough moment in Europe, because later on you played in Czech Republic where you eventually won the Czech League MVP. So during that time, Ty, what clicked for you during that stretch of your career?
I had got brought out from that team in Kosovo to go to Czech in about December. The following year, because the first year was a COVID year. So the following year I had went back to Kosovo, and then I had got bought out and then headed to the Czech Republic, which is my favorite country to live in to this day. I
Nice,
love
nice.
Prague. Shout out to Prague. But yeah, as soon as I got to Czech, I had signed with Deccan. Um, we had a successful season. We lost in the first round of the playoffs. And then I had signed back with them because I knew we had something there. We had a core of players that I like playing with. Like I said, I love living in the Czech Republic. And we ended up winning the first Czech Cup in like 20 years over
Wow.
Limburg, who ran the league. And then we ended up making it to the finals that year after losing in the first round the previous year. And then, we lost that. But then my MVP season came the following year when I signed. My gosh, I'm sorry. When
It's
I
all good,
had
it's all good.
signed, when I had signed with the rival team of Deccan, because there's two teams like right next to each other in the Czech Republic, and there's Deccan and there's a team called Ústí, and like they literally hate each other. It's a derby every time they play. It's like a Duke North Carolina game.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's one of those type of events. It's always sold out 3 days in advance, no parking. So it was wild. I ended up signing with the rivals, obviously for a better situation, just more exposure, more money. And then that year, there was a chip on my shoulder, because I wanted to return to Detchen, but I wouldn't say they were lowballing me, but they were working within the means of their budget. I feel like they still could have offered me more. So I kind of just put a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, damn, I want to play them 4 times a year. I want to get my get back. I need my get back. So I
Right.
ended up signing with the rival. They hated me in the moment till this day. Some of them still reach out. They're like, the move you made, it didn't make sense at the moment, but I understand why you made it because of where you ended up. And I just played with that chip on my shoulder that whole year because I was so angry they didn't offer me more money, and it turned into an MVP season.
And this is the thing about being a pro overseas, like you really have to be a chameleon in a way. You've got to adapt to different environments, different systems, coaching styles, playing styles, and it can take a minute for a player to adjust and feel grounded within that environment. So for yourself, Ty, was there a moment when you felt like you truly found your identity as a pro player?
I would say I would say the first game of that new season, the MVP season, I came out
Nice.
42 points right off bat.
Oh
I was
man.
I was I
Okay.
was playing angry, bro. Playing
Okay.
angry.
Talk, Ty.
42 points right off bat. But nah, from that moment on, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be one of them years. And then
Mm,
we had signed like a very, very experienced Czech player. His name's Lam Oltry. He played about 10, 11 years in Czech. He's still over there. He's a legend over there. They love him. He's one of my good friends that I met from playing in Usti. And as soon as we signed him, I was able to move to my natural position, which was a shooting guard, because I started off the year as a point guard. And then as soon as we signed him, we just went on the uptick from there. I was able to just focus on one thing, which was scoring. He was putting me in the right position to score. It was just a great setup for me. We had a great coach. We had some great players around me. I mean, it was just an amazing year for sure.
how does playing in different leagues and countries shape your style of play?
That's a good question, bro. It obviously basketball is different in every country.
Mm,
Like where I'm at right now in Greece, very physical league. And the Czech is more of a finesse type of league.
okay.
Kosovo's wild basketball, man. I love it. I love Kosovo. Always got a special place in my heart.
For
I tell
sure.
people all the time, I'm gonna retire in Kosovo. It's gonna be the last country I play in, just because I owe that to the coach and I owe that to the organization for signing me. But I mean, each league is gonna offer us different challenges. It's gonna offer different obstacles. But you just gotta kind of, like you said, you gotta kind of adjust. You know what I mean? If
Right.
you want to continue to move up the European ladder and playing better in bigger leagues, you just gotta adjust to each league.
Yeah.
If you're not a physical player, you join a physical league. You gotta be physical. It comes down to that. You know what I mean? So just knowing the league, looking up things before you get there, asking former players what the league was like. You'll kind of get the idea, so that way you can prep yourself, your mind, your body for the upcoming year.
Right. And jumping from where you were playing before to some of your previous stops in your career, what did you learn from your time in the basketball Bundesliga?
Well, Germany, man, wow. What an what an experience that was. So yeah, I was playing in Slovakia last year for like 5, 6 games. I had signed for the European competition that they play in, the Europe Cup. But after that was over, my contract ended because I only had signed for that. So then I had a couple of calls because I played so well in the Europe Cup. I could have went to Germany, I could have went to France, and then I had a team in Turkey that was also interested in me. But I just chose Germany because I had a conversation with the coach on the phone, and I talked to all three coaches from the teams that wanted me, and his conversation seemed the most genuine.
Nice.
And they obviously they needed a guard there because their two guards were hurt. So I'm like, oh, this is the perfect situation. The BBL, the amazing league. Obviously the contract's gonna be better for me. I'll probably get some things better after this year just from me playing in Germany. But then when I get there, it's totally different situation. The guards aren't
Mm,
injured. Um, so I'm coming in thinking I'm a start until the guards come back, and then I'll work my way into the rotation. But I get there, they're not injured, they're already back, and now I'm on the bench. It's a whole new team, middle of the season. You got to learn new plays on the fly because you got a game in 2 days. You don't have a whole preseason to learn the playbook. You got to get adjusted to the league in 2 days. I mean, it all takes a toll. And like I said
yeah.
to begin the show, you got to have that perseverance to just see through all of that and still try to become successful. It just didn't work out over there. The very guard heavy team. My play style didn't really fit. And I'm
Right.
gonna be honest, I don't think my whole play style fits with the BBL in Germany because it's a very athletic league, but it's very slow paced as well. A lot of teams run a lot of sets. The playbooks are like huge.
Wow.
Teams want players that can do this, 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 and I'm like, it doesn't really fit my game. But yeah, I mean, the BBL is an amazing league. It's a top 5 league in Europe. It just it wasn't a fit for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not that I had a
Right.
problem adjusting. It's just more so the team I was on was very guard heavy. They had some great guards, so it was like I couldn't be mad that I wasn't getting the minutes that I thought I should be
Mm,
getting because they had some good guards. But I mean, shout out to the BBL. They gave me the experience I have now to adjust to different situations, and I'm happy that I'm here.
right. And now playing in Greece, what have you learned about yourself as a player at this stage of your career?
Yeah, so like I said, when I was in Germany, I kind of got down on myself, like, man, maybe I can't play at this level. Maybe I'm not ready for such a thing. Then I get here and I'm having great success playing against, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, the best teams
Man.
in Europe. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So they're playing against Kendrick Nunn, Evan Fournier, guys who had long tenured careers in the NBA. And it's like, okay, now I think I can play in any league in Europe. You know what I mean? So Greece has gave me the confidence that I needed back. I'm having a great year with the team. We just finished up our year in the Europe Cup. We lost in the final eight. But it was an amazing season for the European Cup. And, I'm just blessed that I'm able to have this opportunity to play in such a great country, play against great teams and famous coaches. You see Giannis walking down the street. It's like it's crazy, bro. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
definitely happy I'm here.
Considering just before we speak about how you approach player development and skill development as well, Ty. I mean,
Mm.
you said it there, like when you was growing up, you was very much focused on football and you kind of only got into basketball because of your friend and then you gradually started to love it. When
Right.
you look now, Ty, like when you get that moment to reflect, like you're telling me this sport that I've now loved has taken me across to Slovakia, Greece, Germany, Poland. Like I'm in Greece right now. I've met so many amazing people. I've learned about myself as a player and as a person. When you get that moment to reflect, Ty, what moments, highlights, lowlights, feelings come to mind?
Learn
Yes.
just being around these type of people in
Yes.
basketball, especially at this level, the professional level, you're gonna meet a lot of great people and a lot of people that you can use after your basketball career is done, like agents, coaches, managers, owners, people that can help you further your development within the sport after basketball is done. So I've met a lot of great people like that, and I've met so many great people that after basketball is done, I kind of want to become an agent myself
Nice.
just from speaking with them, being around them, seeing how they operate and how they're still around the game that they loved growing up as well. So I mean, basketball you can build a lot of friendships throughout the game, and then after the game's over, you can just continue those friendships and just continue to be successful, being around the sport.
Right. Love that, man. And Speaking about how you approach skill development and just sharpening your tools throughout the season, when do you look back at the player you were in college compared to the player you are today? What are the biggest improvements in your game?
Man, I would just say my overall ability to read the game. Because like I said, in college, my from my sophomore year to now, I've always been a good being able to shoot from deep. Whether that's 2 feet behind the 3 point line or from one step in front of half court. Always been able to do that. That has never left me. But I would just say my ability just to read the game. My IQ for the game. It's slowed down a lot for me. I used to be up and down, up and down, up and down. Even though I can still kind of do that, I kind of just read the game and I slow down. I see what the defense is in. I read defenses faster, more just better than what I did when I was younger. In college, I was a hothead. One of my teammates made a mistake. Instantly, I'm yelling, in front of the
Okay.
whole fans and in front of the opposite team, which is not good. But now it's like I'm trying to correct that mistake for him. Even when I make mistakes, I would put my head down. I'd be mentally out of the game. Now I start
Right.
taking bad shots. I start rushing passes, and I just kind of like I said, the game's slowed down for me. Even when I make mistakes, I kind of just correct myself in the moment because it's European basketball. Like I said, it's cutthroat. So one
True.
mistake, two mistakes, you can't let it trickle down to 4, 5, 6 mistakes because then you might be
Mm.
on that flight home. You know what I mean? So
Right. Right.
the game is just slowed down for me. I'm able to read it better. I'm able to process things a lot more quicker. And I would say that's the biggest difference from when I was in college to now.
And what does your off-season development process look like?
So I have a trainer. His name is Jordan Almore. He opened up his own gym about three years ago.
Nice.
So he'll give me the keys to go there and train. Pretty much every day when I'm back home. But I go home and then I first take that first 2 3 weeks just to myself. I don't even look at a gym. I don't touch a
As you
basketball.
should.
Don't
As you
mention
should. Yeah,
basketball to
yeah.
me.
For real.
But yeah, I kind of take those first 2 3 weeks off just to recollect of my mind and just get my mental back in shape. I'm kind of just give my body a rest, give my body a break, and then just look back on the season and see what type of season I had, see what I can do to improve. And then after those 3 weeks are over, I'm continuously locked in the gym. I play in a ton of money tournaments. I play in the TBT, so I'm
Nice.
always around the game. But I still take time, to take vacations, go see my fam, and travel the world for sure.
Are there any specific, like during that off-season time, are there any specific skills or details you've worked on that help you become a more complete scorer?
I would say playing angles, just playing angles on my defender. If they're guarding you a certain way, just play angles. His body can't move laterally this way if you go at this angle. You know what I mean? So me and my trainer will work on a lot of jab steps, a lot of catch, and then make a move off of that. Just reading angles, bro. Because one thing I figured out about Kyrie Irving from watching his tapes is his handles are amazing, the best handles
Yeah.
I've ever seen. But what people don't realize is he's doing that all off of angles. You know what I mean? So he's doing blah 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 blah, but at the same time he's looking at your feet. And if he sees your
Mm,
feet this angle, there's no way you can recover. No matter what move he does, there's no way you can recover this way at this angle. It's just not in the body's dynamics. You know what I mean? So reading angles is one of the things I look at to become a better scorer, just based off how the defender's guarding me. And then just shot making. Just shot making, bro. I'll shoot something right here in my face in the gym. I'll just keep it there so I can't see the rim and I'll just rise up and shoot. Just doing that over and over again, you're gonna get used to it. And obviously playing in leagues like this, you're gonna play defenders who are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", and you got to figure out how to shoot over them because you're not gonna break everybody down and get a clean look every time. You know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah.
I would just say playing angles and then shot making in the summer is one of the two things I focus on the most.
And you being around just high level basketball and even you just watching some of the best do it, like you said, Kyrie Irving, I'm curious to get your mind on from your perspective, Ty, what separates the athletes that continue to develop and sharpen their skills versus the athletes who kind of just plateau or like kind of just fade out of the league?
Yeah, I mean, speaking on the league sense, you'll see dudes come in the league and they have a successful 1 2 years, and then after that, they kind of get complacent, they get comfortable, they stop working on things, they stop having that hunger for the game, and then 2 3 years they're out the league. You know what I mean? Whereas guys who continuously work on their game, you see them become first team All NBA or All Stars, or they're getting these max deals, and you're like, wait. coming out of college, this wasn't supposed to be him, but he continued to work on his game. He got better. The other dude who was supposed to be the guy got complacent. And you see it all the time with these high draft picks. I mean, sometimes they don't work out, and it's the guys who were drafted lower or undrafted at all that continue to get these amazing contracts, these amazing records, these accolades. So working on your game is important no matter how good you are. You just got to continue to get better because you'll never be as good as you're supposed to be unless you continue to work. You know what I mean? So you
True.
can say, I want to do this. I want to be this. Got to work on it. You can't just say you got to do it. So staying in the gym is key. No matter what you do, you go in there, you lollygag around. As long as you're in that gym, you're doing something, you'll better
Yeah.
your game for sure.
Right. And you just mentioned something early in the podcast, which I think is so key. And that's one thing that I'm really starting to learn, having high level guests like yourself on the podcast. There's the difference between Ty, the player, versus Ty, the person. And I feel like, especially at your level, it's so important, just from what I hear, to have that balance, because especially when you're competing overseas, you are overseas because of your talent. And sometimes losses can take a toll on your identity, or like you really attach who you are to how you play on the court, versus not a lot of players are able to make that separation. So as athletes, we're often defined by performance. So how do you separate Ty the basketball player from Ty the person?
I mean, what you just said is huge, bro. Some people can't translate off the court things until on the court things, and I think that's one of the main things about our team this season. From the first day, we've had great chemistry off the court in the locker room. Everybody's talking, joking around. It's just a good environment to be around. So it makes you want to come to work every day, come to practice every day, and just
Nice.
play as good as you can. You know what I mean? Just to continue to be around these guys and continue to have a good time. And another thing we spoke about was relationships. Like I said, from the first day, we're all joking around, we're all playing around, we all get along. We built a lifelong brotherly friendship, a relationship that's going to take us throughout our careers, and we want to play for one another. And that makes you just on the court, you want to do something to help your brother. You know what I mean? So just off the court things, I think it translates amazingly to on the court. Whereas if you're not so close with your teammates off the court, on the court, you're not going to be close as well. You know what I mean? It's not just something you can turn on and off. It's something that has to be built over time. And I think over time, our team is so good because we don't have the best talent in the league, but we're able to continue to work to get better for one another. We're playing for one another. And if you play for the dude next to you, then obviously your team's just going to be better that way instead of one dude playing for himself, one dude playing for himself. And
Right.
obviously your team's not going to have as much success. So I think that's been one of the biggest key for us this season is just being able to play for each other because off the court we get along so well. And then we all like to joke and everything like that. But for me personally, I kind of separate it from, okay, we can joke. But when we get into the locker room, when it's time for
Yeah.
practice, it's time to work. It's time for
Right.
business. We're
Right.
here. End of the day, we're here for a job. You know what I mean? So I kind of just keep that in my mind. Like, yeah, I'm overseas. I'm not in America. I can't just joke 3, 4 hours a day. Throughout play. You know what I mean? I got to kind of lock in and get my job done. So in the days,
Right.
you gotta look at it as a job, man.
What helps you, Ty, stay grounded while navigating the ups and downs of a professional career?
I think just knowing where I come from. You know what I mean? I don't want to go back to that. I've been poor. I've been at the bottom. I've had nothing to eat. I've had to eat water for dinner. So I think just being in that situation, being in that environment, it makes me never want to go back. So anything that goes on in my life, I'm always trying to overcome that with whatever I have to do. You know what I mean? If I get
Yeah.
hurt, I'm trying to get back on the court as quick as possible so that, oh, he's been hurt for this long. We got to send him home. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I just try not to go back to my old life because I know how easy it is to get sucked into the streets and just continue to do bad things. Once you start doing one bad thing, it's just so easy to just continue to do them. So I
True.
just think that's what keeps me going. Just trying to better my life. Not trying to go back to my old life.
Right. And this is one thing I've learned with basketball careers. It comes with highs and lows. There's contracts, minutes, injuries, adjustments. During those things, when they're thrown at you, Ty, how have you learned to stay mentally resilient?
It took a lot of work, bro. Because like I said, in college, this wasn't me. If the
Yeah.
coach yelled at
Yeah.
me, I'm shut down for the game. We lost the game already. I'm gonna make us
Right.
lose the game. That's just the
Right.
type of person I was. But it took a lot of work just throughout the years. Took a lot of beatings from my mom. But it just molded me. Like I said, it molded me into the person I am today. And A coach can yell at me as much as he wants now. I'll take it as constructive criticism, and I try to do better at whatever he's trying to get at. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I mean, it's just as a player, you're young. You know, you see people in the stands in high school. You see girls. You just want to have the best game. You don't want to get yelled
Yeah.
at in front of girls. But
Yeah.
as you get older, you got to realize, bro, it's gonna happen. You're not a perfect player. You'll never be a perfect player. Things are always gonna have to get better, and sometimes you might get yelled at. It just happens. You know what I mean? You got to take it as constructive criticism. Your coach has been in your shoes before, so he knows what he's talking about, and you just got to kind of take it and run with it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And just a final topic before we wrap up with the Beyond the Game segment, just for advice for aspiring players, for players coming out of college and who want to play overseas, what do they need to understand about the journey?
I just think it's a long journey. You know what I mean? Just understand it's going to be long. Like
Yep.
you said, it's going to be ups. There's going to be a lot of downs, but you got to look at what you're doing and who wants to do what you're doing. You know what I mean? This is really a dream job. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work, a ton of work, a lot of business. But at the end of the day, you're playing a game for your life. You know what I mean? So as long as you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, just continue to do it. You know what I mean? But definitely understand it's going to be long. It's going to be a ton of ups and downs. And as long as you're able to persevere through those, man, you're gonna have a long, successful career. But my one major advice would just be have great character. Have great
Mm,
character. Great character could take you a long way, whether that's in
right.
basketball or life. You know what I mean? Just have great
Yeah.
character. You never know who you're talking to. You could be shaking hands with the owner of a team and you don't even know it. You know what I mean? So,
True. That's real.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just talk to the
That's
owner how
real.
you would talk to one of your friends. You know what I mean? So just have respect for everyone and just have great character. Character is the number one thing in this world.
Right. And is there something that you see young athletes working on now that isn't actually as important as they think it is when they get to the next level?
I see a ton of workout videos on Instagram where the drills just don't make any sense. They're like, I seen this one video the other day. The dude had like four chairs in a row, and he's like, dribble between these. These are gonna be your defenders. I can guarantee you there will never be four defenders lined up in a
Yeah.
row. Like
Right.
it's just never gonna happen. It's just never gonna happen. If that happens, let me know so I can get in that league. Because that's not like an easy league. You know what I mean?
Right.
But nah,
Right.
I mean, I just see a ton of workout videos like that, or like a dude to come down the lane. He's like, make this move and then windmill. No one's gonna come down and like it's just not gonna happen. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would just want to see real game situations, in these workout videos, not just things for Instagram reels and likes. You know what I mean?
I like that. And
Yeah.
wrapping up with the Beyond the Game segment, this first question, I'm super intrigued to get your mind on, Ty, because I mean, your book is still very much being written, and you've seen so many things just at that high level. What would you say, Ty? Now, this could go the basketball route or life. It's really whichever one connects with you the most. What would you say, Ty, is a skill that is taught by many but only mastered by a few?
That's a tough one. IQ? I would have to go
Mm,
IQ. It can no, I can't. That would I mean, if I could find another word for IQ, it would be that. Because it's
mm,
taught. Like you're taught to be smart, make the right play, don't do too much, but it's not mastered by that. Not everyone has that. You know what I mean? If I could find another word, it'd be that. But something centered around IQ would be that for sure.
I like that. What does how do you recognize IQ in another teammate? What are they doing? Mannerisms, body language, like how do you recognize, yeah, that player right there has good IQ, would you say?
Able to just see a play ahead. If you're able to see a play ahead. So like if he's coming down the court and the back door is there, he'll throw it.
Okay.
But like you gotta see a play ahead. You just know like you'll know it when he's on the court with you. Like you feed the ball into the post, he already has it. He knows what he's about to do in the post. Like he knows he has a back pass right here, a
Right.
backdoor pass right here, or something of that nature. Like he can just read the game a step ahead.
Yeah.
If you stay a step ahead of the defense, you're always gonna win.
Right. Right. I
So
like it. Next one. What is something failure taught you that success couldn't?
failure taught me to never keep my head down. Never in life. I had lost the state championship my senior year in high school, and we had won the previous two. But those two previous state championships didn't teach me a thing. It just taught me, okay, let's just go win the third one so I can graduate and get out of here. And then when I lost that third, I'm like, that just taught me more about myself and my journey on what I'm about to go on than the first two wins did. And I'm talking to myself, I'm like, how did a loss teach me more than a win? But it taught me there's never enough success in the world. You know what I mean? You can
True.
always strive to get more success. You can always strive to be way more successful. Because like I said, we had 1-2 in a row. Of course, we're gonna win a third one. Who's gonna stop us? We're getting better. We
Right.
even added some players. Then I lost. I'm like, okay, I gotta humble myself because this is never too good to be too cocky. Because then you can get knocked off. You can get knocked off the top. You know what I mean? So definitely that losses teach you way more than wins in life.
That's that's real.
Hundred
That's
percent.
real. Third one, the best piece of advice you ever received.
That's a piece of advice. Before, like I said, I had 6 brothers, and one of my brothers who's currently in prison right now, but he had came home one summer before he had got locked up again. He had came home and he was just talking to me. He was like, "Man, I learned a lot in there." I'm like, I don't know nothing about jail. I've never been close to jail,
Right,
so I'm
right.
like, "Why are you talking to me about this? You know I play sports." But then he's like, "Bro, just never get too cocky, because then you'll end up like me." And from that point forward, there's not one cocky bone in my body. I've always
Right.
been humble. I
Yeah.
treat everybody with the same respect. And I think that just stuck with me from that point on. I'm like, damn. Because I could, like, from my high school, no one's ever won 2 state championships. No one's
Wow.
ever broke the college scoring record at my college for about 60, 70 years. So I do have reasons to be, a cocky person, but it's just
True.
not me. It's not me. It's not me at all. Very humble. I honestly hate that I had to brag about myself this much in interviews. I don't do this. Whenever people
Yeah.
ask me questions, I bring up my teammates or I bring up my coaching staff, my friends, other people. I never talk about myself. Anybody who knows me know I hate talking about myself, but just to stay humble, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Humbleness is key in my life.
Right. Final two. This one is more of a statement, and you have to fill in the blank. And the
Okay.
statement is, if it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learnt filling the blank about
Okay.
myself.
If it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learned character.
Yeah.
Without basketball, there's no way I'd be who I am today. There's just
Yeah.
no way.
Right. And the final one for you, Ty, I'm going to set the scene. There's a young player who has grew up in the same neighborhood as you, and like you are their idol, you're their role model. They've got every single jersey of the teams and clubs that you've been with. They've been supporting you since day one, and they've just finished their practice, and they're scrolling through Instagram, and they just found out that you have released a book. So they're on their way to the nearest bookstore. They go to the librarian and they say, "Where can I get the book by Ty?" And the librarian says, "You just go up the stairs, you turn right, you go to the sports section, you can't miss it." So he's geek now. He's going up the stairs with his backpack on, wearing the jersey, and he picks up your book, Ty, and he's looking at it. And the question that I want to ask you is, what would the title of your autobiography be?
Dang. I title it one word: perseverance. That'd be the one word: perseverance. And when you open it, it's gonna be a picture of the kid at the bottom with
Mm.
goals at the top in the sky and him looking up at it. Perseverance.
Why do you mean that?
I would say perseverance just because you gotta persevere through everything in life. Like I said, whether it's good, whether it's bad, gotta persevere through it to get to greater. You know what I mean? And that's why he'd be looking up, see the greatness, see the kid at
Yes.
the bottom going through the worst. It's gotta persevere just to get there. So
Right.
perseverance for sure.
I love that, man. I love that. Honestly, time, man. Myself, the listeners cannot thank you enough. For those who are watching this right now, do not worry. All of Ty's socials will be in the link of this description. But Ty, man, I really cannot thank you enough, man. Honestly, thank you so much for giving up your time out of your busy schedule, being on the podcast, man. Honestly, I just really, really do appreciate you, man, for real. And with that being said, this is myself, Coach D, and the one and only Ty Nichols signing out. We'll catch the listeners on the next one. Appreciate you.
I got Coach D. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, bro.